I don't want to really do this because like I feel bad for Tatum, and I'm about to go into this thing about like what kind of rarefied air he has as far as accolades at his age and how his like
People are
what that can
wrong.
mean for his career being derailed. But
People are wrong about him, flat out.
as far as what,
Just the hate that he gets, and like not like realizing who this guy is and like what he's done,
you want to know why?
who he's sent home in the playoffs multiple
We'll get to
times.
that in a second. Let's put a pin in that. Let's put a pin in that. We'll get to it because I wanted to talk about that. But um, what I was going to say is like the Celtics. This is Celtics, and we'll get to Tatum. The Celtics. You think about the times they've lost or the times they haven't. Right. I don't think the Celtics have ever been bounced out the playoffs in the Tatum era, aside from maybe 2018. Maybe I don't think they've ever lost a series where they were like. I think every time they've lost, they've been favored to going into that series. Like no one expected Kyrie to short circuit and them lose in 19 when they had that team and also Gordon Hayward on that team,
Yeah, but that
right?
shit was fucked up
Hold,
because
hold,
they tried that
hold
two
on,
time line shit.
hold on. Let me. That's true. Only person that ever pulled that out was
Warriors.
the Warriors, right? So you got that. 20. They lost to that Heat team. They have no. They're always better than. They have no business ever losing to the Heat in the post LeBron. Never, and they've lost to him twice. Right?
I can throw that out
21.
like that was the bubble. Like weird shit happened in the bubble.
Rich, I'm only at 2020. It is. We're about to get to 2024, or about to get 2025. All right, 2021. Uh, they lost to who? Was it they lose to the? Did they lose to the Bucks?
They lost to the Bucks in
Lost
the
to the Bucks.
in the Eastern Conference semifinal. No, no, no.
No, because that's the
2021, I think
Nets.
they had somebody get injured, I think. And they lost in the first round to like the Heat or some shit.
Probably the Heat.
Yeah.
Probably the Heat again. Right. Okay. So
Or two, or
2022.
2021
Get to
they beat the Nets and then the Bucks beat the Nets. No, hold on.
no.
The
You got the
Celtics
years backward.
the Nets beat the Celtics because all them Celtics were hurt.
No. The Nets beat
Oh,
the
I
Celtics because
haven't.
that was the first. That was the only series where Harden, Kyrie, and Durant were healthy.
Hmm. I guess
So they
I don't
rolled.
remember. Yeah.
Remember they beat the shit out of them in that first round. And we were like, oh my god. And then Kyrie got hurt. Harden had the bad leg. They take Durant goes nuts. They get the game 7. The shit went to overtime. Durant foot was one shoe size too big, and they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's what happened. So that's the 1 year. So that's 1 year where they actually were. I believe if I were to go back to before the series started, the Nets were favored over the Celtics. All right. So that's one. So 2022, they beat the Nets. They get to the finals. They were favored over the Warriors. They choked it out. Right. I didn't even watch any of those finals games. I was like, I do not want to see Boston beat Steph Curry. I did not want to see that.
2021,
Right.
Jaylen Brown didn't play that series.
Okay. How close is that series? Was it 5 or 4?
Four. They went to 5.
Okay, there you go. All right, so then 2023,
Now
the
that's a
last
choke
Marcus
one.
Smart year.
Now that's your choke.
Stop choking to the Miami Heat. Their best player is Jimmy Butler. The second best player is Bam Adebayo or Tyler Hero. No,
I mean,
you have no business losing these teams.
I mean, weird shit happens. Niggas start name Caleb Martin, start catching fire like they're Reggie Miller, and Nick Young. Remember that one time Nick Young hit all them threes in the playoffs? Same shit
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's amazing how that never happens for the Celtics, even though they all shoot all the threes, right? Anyway, moving on. So then last year, right?
Gabe Vincent going off. Yes.
Yeah, last year. Look, Gabe Vincent was going off, except for well, no, Gabe Vincent wasn't on the 2020 team. Never mind. So yeah, man, like then last year they had some injury luck and they won, and they were the best team all year, and no one believed him at all until they finally won. All right, so then this year they swept the Knicks. They beat the Knicks 4-0 in the season series.
They had something for him.
They had 20-point leads in games 1 and 2 in the second half. Blew both of them, lost. Win game 3 in convincing fashion. It was the same formula as the same happened in the games 1 and 2 and 3, where they get a 20-point lead, they're beating their ass up. This time they don't choke it out. Then last night, Tatum and Brunson are going all time, back to back, like just you score a bucket, I score a bucket, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Knicks end up getting the lead. I think it had like a 9-point lead with 3 minutes left. Tatum passes the ball to Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown fumbles the ball. Tatum reaches out for the ball. His Achilles rips. Knicks go down. OG Anunoby gets the ball, takes it down to score. I think it's a 9-point lead or the 11-point lead at that point in time. Tatum's season's done. Career's altered. And the Celtics, that team's going to be changed.
Oh, yeah. This is it. They just sold that team
like,
too.
No, even if Grossman didn't sell that team off, that team has to be blown up. They're so close to the second apron. We didn't think that. We thought that Holiday was going to be gone.
Both of them are going to be gone.
Right. But when you know they're going to stink next year because Tatum won't be playing at all next year or plays a handful of games next year, you're not going to be able to compete. You're not paying that payroll for and luxury tax or whatever else. You're going to get rid of the repeater tax. They ought to blow that team up. So they got to start all over again. And they had a run of teams.
I got a trade for you. Look.
Go ahead.
You're going to crack up laughing the second I say this shit. If you got to blow it up, why don't we just blow it all the way up, right? Jaylen Brown, they trade with these niggas all the time anyway, historically. Dallas Mavericks, would you like Jaylen Brown for the number 1 pick?
They would not do that.
They should.
But here's the thing. If your choice is you can get Jaylen Brown, hold on. If your choice is, first off, I don't know how the salaries work, but it's like, all right, Jaylen Brown at $300 million or Giannis for 2 years. I'll take Giannis for 2 years. One, he's a far superior player, and it's only 2 years supposed to being stuck with 3 years left on the contract after this season. So
Brown,
and I don't know how that works because you got Kyrie making big money and you got Anthony Davis making max money.
That team would not be able to shoot. I think I would take Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown can shoot.
Sometimes he's a streaky shooter.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is just like now I guess getting
younger too.
Sorry.
Younger too.
Yeah. Not young enough to where it makes a difference between choosing between Giannis or him though. So I guess moving on to Tatum. I saw Tatum as a rookie, and I thought, wow, this guy is going to make like 8 All-Star teams. And we're at a point now where it's like you look up and it's like, forget 8 All-Star teams. He's going to make like 8 first-team All-NBAs. And to see him at 27, 28, and he rips up his Achilles, is like, it's not going to be there. It's never going to be the same again. He might, he'll be an all-star probably, that kind of stuff. But like the idea that like this guy, was a perennial top 5 MVP candidate at this point, those days might be over. And it's sad because we never really gave him, the props he deserves. One, because like I mentioned, the struggles where he lost a lot of series to teams he should have beat, or his team should have. Not putting the blame solely on him, because a lot of that is Jaylen Brown not knowing how to dribble with his fucking left hand, but and Marcus Smart being a saboteur, and them not realizing he's a saboteur. But like it also comes down to, people talk about the aura shit now.
Yep.
The Shea shit, right? Like aura and all that kind of stuff. His biggest problem was that he was not a lifestyle for any of these niggas that watch ball no more. Like you grew up watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, and then you grew up watching Shaq and Kobe and Jordan, and then you grew up watching like Iverson and Kobe, right? And then like all of a sudden, like then you get LeBron James and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, and they're large, these kind of large like figures, and he's just a boring dude with no personality. So like nobody is in the trenches outside of the New England area of this country, talking about like, yeah, you know, that's the guy.
Well, I can name
That's a part of it.
look, I can name some xenophobes who you know will stump for Tatum.
Oh, you mean NBA? Oh, you mean American NBA players? Oh yeah, sure. I'm gonna rephrase that. Black American NBA players. Sorry, retired. Yeah, yeah. That's it. Right? But that's the main problem. Like
I mean, Kawhi don't have
he
this
was.
problem. Like you know, like people
You
don't
don't
treat
want to know why?
Kawhi like he no hoe.
You know why? Because Kawhi's a two-time Finals MVP. Kawhi had one of the greatest postseasons of all time. Jayson Tatum's never had that. Jayson Tatum, for all the shit he gets for him having some duds, he's also had some killer games. But the problem he has is he has yet to beat anybody that we universally all respect. Like Steph Curry, while playing on better teams, whole run, he was beating LeBron. You respect that, right? Like Kawhi Leonard beat the Warriors. If those guys got hurt, they weren't getting their asses beat to death by the time those injuries happened. So you respect that one.
Do we
Like
respect
beating
Kevin
Embiid and
Durant?
James Harden ain't doing it.
I was gonna say we don't respect Kevin Durant when he
Uh,
swept him and busted
they
his
do.
ass and had him locked up.
Do you remember that series when Kyrie was awful?
Yeah. But look, that's a Kevin Durant problem. Look, and I've talked about on several times when you put your career in the hands of Kyrie Irving, these are the results of simulation.
Yeah. But there's also this part where like, yeah, man, we talking about a dude right now, and there's another part, right, about the respect thing, right? As far as like his dude that he's never gotten, and talking about how his career is about to be altered. We're talking about him. We're doing a postmortem on what his prime is going to be possibly because his career is going to be altered. He swept or Kevin Durant or beat Kevin Durant at 5 after his Achilles tear. Not the same player. So I'm not saying people were doing that in real time, whatever else, but like there is absolutely offensively like, yeah, Kevin Durant basically the same guy, post that, but he was a different player. He was not near the defensive player he was in OKC or in Golden State post that Achilles tear. So like, yeah, he has beaten some people or whatever else, but there's also be like, yeah, okay. Never had been to a time where it's like, yeah, he absolutely laid the smackdown on somebody and we all respect him, or it was some great team that he beat or whatever, or the Celtics beat. It was always like, and this was the time for them this year was like, all right, you have 261 teams also in this league you can beat. Like, this didn't happen for him. This year one of a smoke, and then insult to injury to insult, and luckily him and Tatum or him and Brown are both young enough to where like get another crack at this probably because they're still going to be all stars, so they'll still have another crack at this in their 31-year-old years, whatever else to redo this, for them to regroup around that team and that franchise to be contenders again. But they had a lot of bites at this apple, and when Tatum got drafted with Ainge and all that stuff, and all them picks they got from Brooklyn, from the trade for KG and Paul Pierce, we were like, they might just they might just keep playing, keep holding this off, keep punting, because eventually you got to get to past LeBron in the East, and then LeBron moves, and then it's like, all right, all you got to really worry about is Giannis, and then Giannis has his own issues with the Bucks. Then you keep getting bounced by these mediocre fucking Heat teams, and now it's like you had all these chances. Now, ain't granted to nobody, and now this happens. It's like it feels like they potentially you look back in a decade and be like, they won one. They had an all-time great season, 2024. They look like going into in 2025 they could defend, but ultimately they flamed out in the second round, in 5, and I don't know now.
I mean,
there's a whole first half of Tatum's career that's in set in stone, and you can't take that away. But like now that you look back at it and be like, damn, they missed opportunities, and now it's like his career will be different. This kind of sucks. Kind of sucks for him. It's gonna hurt him historically.
I mean, these guys have won a lot of games for a lot of years, starting young too. Like first year in the league, they were competing. Second year in the league,
this is rookie year,
and then like,
I'm sorry, since Brown's rookie year.
Yeah, and so it's like 8 years later. Like that's a lot of 50-win teams. That's like a lot of all-star appearances. I think he's gonna be fine. Like I think he's gonna come back. Just the way the medical stuff is advancing, people are beating these now. It's not like a death sentence in the way it was. I think the Team USA stuff hurt him a lot too. And whether that was his issue or it's gonna be real hard if you got LeBron, Durant, and Steph there to just turn them away and say we're making it for the young guys now. I think he's kind of like a guy that is kind of caught between that time of those niggas not getting out the way. So there's no way to properly like show him that kind of love.
But by get out the way, do you mean politically or basically he still wasn't better than them when it came down to it? Yeah.
I mean both. Like because
he was
first. I mean he was like first team All NBA, and it was just like, all right, if I'm first team All NBA, why do I have to take a back seat at all to LeBron? Like.
Because if a game comes down to in our life, like I'll take the guy that's going to end up being the fucking Olympic MVP, leads the team in points, rebounds, assists over the guy that can't make a fucking shot outside the paint all summer long.
He got to play the minutes
in the Olympics.
He got to play the minutes. So like they weren't taking it easy on him. They weren't playing him like a 40-year-old guy who you would give this like a ceremonial piece or whatever. It's like all the same level of player. He didn't get his chance to do that. He might have been struggling with his shot and stuff like that, but that's
absolutely struggling with his shot.
That's a separate issue.
I don't think it is when it's like when shit hits the fan and you gotta make sure you don't get stoned by Rich Latta if you don't win a fucking gold medal.
Yeah, but like at the same time, be like, yo, it's a first team All NBA player out there. It's like this is not a bum. Like, and people treat him like he's a bum. Like people treat him like he's a bum. Like an absolute bum, like making fun of him for his Achilles popping and saying, "Oh, now he gets to really be like Kobe and all this shit." Like I was like, that's like all this shit is together though. Like that's how all this shit ends up.
I saw that too, and that's gross.
Like that's how all this shit ends up, and it's like that weird stuff right here with this guy. It's like you want a guy that busts his ass, that doesn't get in trouble, that is loyal to his franchise, they built a team around him for years and years, and they're gonna treat that guy like that. Okay, man. Like I thought we were doing something different. Like I thought we were showing guys love for staying where they at. I thought we were showing guys love for winning. I thought we were showing love for this kind of stuff. Apparently we're not. Apparently we want aura and all this other shit. I'm like, all right, man.
Oh, it comes.
They got it.
It comes like I mentioned.
They can praise Carmelo Anthony, who Jayson Tatum is clearly better than. They can do shit like that. They can talk about how great Vince Carter was while Jayson Tatum is better than all these niggas.
I'm a UNC guy, and I hold him at the bottom of regard when it comes to that stuff. I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I never thought you ain't talk. You preach to the choir with that one.
I never thought I would have to stick up for Tatum like this because that nigga's a Boston Celtics. I know he went to Duke, but I mean Duke got plenty of one and dones. So it's like I think people treat this guy so weird and so bad, and all he's done that we know about him is be a father. That's something like get the fuck out of here, man.
That's what I'm talking about when it comes to this internet shit, man. Like this shit is toxic. Like it is you're on the one. A lot of it comes to there's so many like. Oh, I say this. No. You don't understand the diagramics. The demographics. I said diagramics. God damn. You understand demographics of. Let's just do NWA, right? Ric Flair was a Lakers fan. Dusty Rhodes was a Celtics fan. What can you draw from those conclusions?
I mean,
Celtics had a bunch of white guys on their team. And the Lakers had a bunch of black guys on their team. What can you draw from that during their rivalry in the 80s? Bird and Magic. What can you draw from that from the 79 Final Four all the way through the Dream Team, right? There's always that, right? Our Twitter and what we see, as far as what we cover, what we see as far as people talk about NBA Twitter, it is mostly black people. And black people historically do not fuck with the Celtics. Obvious reasons for the city of Boston, right? And we know this. Now, from there, no one wants to see that team fucking win. So, for example, the only team that anybody ever gave a shit about from the Celtics that I've been in my lifetime are like the KG era Celtics. Even you will be like, hey, y'all do too much, you only won one title, and I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm just pointing out that
I'll
like
say this
one
group
time it was
this
ever
group has been good twice as long, and they won the same amount of championships as them.
uh, yeah. Also, you guys keep in mind like I remember the part where like KG got there, he's 31. Oh, but on that side, you have this whole situation where it's like, hey, like Celtics, nobody that's black on Twitter as an NBA fan is really rooting for the Celtics like that, unless they're like Howard Bryant who grew up in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's Michael Bivins and, and Bobby Brown. Do they have Twitters? Right? Like, does the Rocks, like, aside from like the Roxbury gang, so have that at play. Nobody room for them. Yeah, that guy, he's really good, but there's always something missing. There always seems to be some stumbling block or whatever else, and he's losing all these games where he's on these superior teams or whatever else. That's not saying about some knock about him in particular, but it's like he's seen them fail and fail and fail and fail, and we got to the point where it's like, look, we're not even gonna believe in you anymore. You're just gonna have to go win, and then eventually we'll give you, and then we'll be like, we'll get off your back. One, we was like, all right, fine. Won this round, fuck nigga. That's how they treated the Celtics last year when they won the title. Won this round. So now this happens, and like I mentioned, the aura shit is a part that I think fucking sucks. It's like he's getting hated on because he's not a personality, and it's like you watch basketball because you enjoy watching sport, or are you looking for fucking father figures?
Look, or they want to fuck these niggas. They like, how about we just ask in nose playing terms? Like,
there's that part too. That people talk about like the what do you call it? The all the Michael Jordan comparisons with Anthony Edwards. Like Anthony Edwards is like 20 pounds heavier than Jordan. What are you talking about? I understand that I get what you're saying, but like you're really just talking about like both dark skin and they have really good handles for their height and weight combination. Like relax. Like he's not Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan be averaging like 35 in this fucking era with all this space. Anyway, so yeah, like I just think that like people have dubbed him as a lame, and he's a lane that has been successful, and people don't want to be like, hey, we tripping. They just want to double down. Now, as you mentioned, he has 43 points as he tears the fucking Achilles. Now, some idiots, not all of them, but some idiots are, fist pumping and shit. I think that shit is lame. And then doing the Kobe shit or whatever else. And I'm like, look, man, I get it. I'm also on his ass for the Jordan shit too, or for the Kobe shit too, as far as like texting this motherfucker's phone after he's been deceased. I think that's weird. And letting us know about it, that's weird.
mm-hmm.
I think it is weird. But now it's like, all right, now y'all being cruel. One thing when y'all being funny, now y'all being cruel. And there's a line, there's a distinct line between the two.
Yeah.
People are crossing that line because they think he's a nigga to rank on. Look, I don't disagree that he wasn't funny to laugh at. But like, where's your humanity in a situation like this?
Yeah.
So
that's
kind of where I am on
it. Either way, like I think like I think if people start thinking about who he's better than, or he's potentially gonna end up better than, it's gonna get real uncomfortable for these people that claim to love basketball and know the game. Like,
and the thing about it is, like, I think he doesn't. I talked about this with Steph before, right? Like, you see Steph and his average in these series in the playoffs, and you're like, okay, numbers are his numbers. You also remember that he has one game. He has like one or two games where he's fucking incredible. He has one or two games that are kind of /stinkers, and then two average games. You look at the numbers, like he was fine, but but it's the ebbs and flows because he shoots so many fucking threes. Tatum took like 15 threes by the time he tore his Achilles in that game.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Like, the part of his game that's frustrating is like you 6'9" with all this with this handle. When Jaylen Brown's guarding, I'm sorry, not Jaylen Brown. When Jalen Brunson's guarding you, not settle for a fucking mid-range jumper. Take his ass to the cup and lay it up. Like it's not like the floor is shrunk because there's bigs on the floor. Get past him, and like there is frustrating parts of his game, but like there are plenty of people that are all-time greats that have frustrating parts of their game, and we get over that to praise them because we like them. I just think he doesn't have enough people on his the fan base thing, or his bandwagon, if you will. I think that's a part about it. Like, there's nobody that's rocking with him in that way. So it's unfortunate for the guy because, like, You know, he's done everything the quote unquote right way. Should like him in
Amazing.
theory, but
Amazing.
he's a Boston Celtics, so fuck him.
So Michael Jordan